Hi guys, so I've been having lots of fun recently with some clear resin, and yeah, I want to sort of push the boat out, well, literally here, and try more and more ways of, using the clear resin. So as you can see, I've made some lovely looking waves here, which I'm really proud of. I think this will come out pretty cool. And yeah, just love the fact that I have got like a rolling ocean. So I also made or done something different with this video, and that is I've made a one-part mold. I haven't done mold making for quite some time. Quite easy to do and quite fun. So first thing I needed to do was make something to make a mold of. So the only kind of plan I kind of had, so I normally have loose plans when I'm making things. Things change as I go along. So using a bit of wood and good old plasticine, I wanted to kind of make the rolling waves and the sea, just so there's like height differences. Oh, get your teeth in how the sea looks. So yeah, using plasticine because obviously nice and cheap stuff to buy, easy to use, to manipulate, and yeah, I should be able to make a good sort of a good cast of this, which is kind of what I'll I want to show you what I've done really. So I kind of just pushed and prodded all the plasticine around. As I say, I do want to make some like nice high bits for the waves and just some just irregular, uneven looking patterns in the water. So that's all done. Just need to clean up the side to say, because this is what I'm going to make a cast of. So yeah, make it all nice and neat. And like I say, I could have done this all in plasticine, but I might not have got the bottom edge bit as sort of neat and tidy, and there's a square edge that I was kind of going for. So using the obviously the knife there, yeah, cut the bits off really well. So this is the boats I'm going to use. I'll show where I got this from and me printing this in just a minute. But obviously, as I want this to sort of sit inside the clear resin afterwards, I need to make the indentation with it, and then yeah, just get some more plasticine, build up the sides. As I say, I want to make this look like it is actually sitting or sunken partway in the water. This is the first time I've done this kind of thing. Again, it's always fun to try new things. So in my head, I have an idea, then I kind of work out how to accomplish that idea. And then yeah, it is a case of winging it sometimes, but yeah, that's the fun with this hobby, is just to try out new things and yeah, give it a go. So with this, obviously the front of the boat, I want it to look like it's sort of cresting a wave. That's why the wave's going higher, but also I want it to be like a bit of a splash effect. And yeah, again, we're making this plasticine look exactly how I kind of want the sea to look. So it's got lots of waves, and now a splash at the front of the ship. Is that the bow? I think it might be. Never too sure, because I've got a memory like a sieve, and sometimes I even just forget words. So yeah, good old plasticine doing all this, and then it's almost ready to make a cast of. But when I removed the boat, I kind of felt like the sea was still a bit too flat. So using this little tool that I've had sitting in a drawer for I don't know how long, yeah, just going around adding again more texture to this. Just so I don't have to do as much work afterwards. So when I pour the clear resin, it's going to come out looking exactly how this sort of cast mold. I always forget what terms things are. You know what I mean. This thing I'm making currently. So my plan is to make a sort of silicone mold, but also I need to pour the silicone into this. So usual sort of thing. Make a framework up using the good old sort of clear plastic here. Just because this stuff, yeah, it's cheap to buy. It's easy to use. I can cut it up with a good old blade, and as you can see, yeah, a bit of super glue going around. So making the frame so there's a little bit of a gap all the way around. I think it's about 10 millimeters. As I say, my plan is to pour the sort of 2 parts silicone in this, and then pour the clear epoxy resin into that. So for sealing this up, you could obviously use the old hot glue gun. I don't have one, or if I do, I don't know where it is. So yeah, I'm using good old clear resin here by Let's Resin. That's also the company that I'm using to use the kind of the deep pour, I guess you'd call this, because it's there's going to be a reasonable amount of epoxy resin here. So that's that all done, and now say to pour in the 2 parts silicone, which I've got from MB Fiberglass. As always, guys, links down below to everything I'm using in all my videos. Yeah, so it's a case of mixing these two together. Again, I haven't done anything with sort of mold making for quite some time. If you look at some of my older videos, yeah, I even had to go at making some molds and casting some Warhammer figures. Yeah, that was back in the early days, and then I got told off from, well, from Warhammer about their IP and all the rest of it. Anyway, we're not going to go down here. So the good thing with these things are, when you mix them together, obviously, as you can see, yeah, one's a blue, one's white, which is really good, because then you can know and tell exactly when you've mixed everything in perfectly, because, well, it'll all be just one colour. And that's why I'm using my my cordless drill here, just to make things a whole lot easier. So it didn't take too long at all. And then, yeah, just sort of filling this out. So I took my time here, just going around, making sure I got into all the, well, nooks and crannies, so to speak. But this stuff is lovely and fluid, so it does sort of fill and, well, move around to fill any gaps that may be. And yeah. So guys, yeah, check out the links down below to everything I'm using. Some of them are affiliate links, so I get a bit of money back. Doesn't cost you anything. And some are, well, some are just normal links to the products that I use. So I left it overnight to cure, and yeah, it's nice and firm and solid and ready to be, well, demolded, I guess. Yeah, the last time I used these plastic sheets, they came off really, really easy. For some reason, this time, yeah, kind of easy, but cracked. But that's not too bad. As I said, these plastic sheets, they're not that expensive, which is good, because, well, I really am enjoying making things with the clear resin, and even more so making these kind of molds, of whatever I want really, and then using the clear resin, which is just, yeah, it's going to be lots of fun. As you guys know, yeah, I love 3D printing stuff, but every now and then it is nice to make something, well, kind of from scratch, which I kind of feel this is, because, yeah, I've made the sea, well, out of plasticine. But yeah, soon to be out of resin, which will look a whole lot better. So yeah, this stuff, yeah, just a case of easily, gently peeling it away. Then the problem I have sort of noticed is because I use that bit of wood, yeah, in the mould, it is a little bit sort of, not rough, but yeah, it's not as smooth as, well, the bits where the wooden bit wasn't, if you know what I mean. So last thing to do, a bit of a clean up. There's a few little bits of plasticine, just in some sort of like nooks and cranny bits. But yeah, it came out pretty pleased with this. Again, first time using this stuff, and yeah, awesome. So that's my my mould made. Now, obviously, I'm going to be pouring some clear resin in this in a minute, or later on in the video anyway. But yeah, I just want to put some wood around it, just again make the box a bit more firmer, because I know the resin can, well, distort things otherwise. So before we go on to the resin pour, let's find out where I got these miniatures from. And yeah, good old My Mini Factory, as we all know, I absolutely love that place. And the miniatures I'm using are from Mecha Miniatures, and yeah, as you can see, glorious looking little pirate ship here. I do reduce the size of the pirate ship down just a little bit, as obviously I wanted the ship and these two dudes, but I didn't want all the cargo and the sails and everything else. But as you can see, yeah, lovely looking miniature. So I downloaded the STLs, and yeah, I'm using my Phrozen Mighty 8K printer for this as well. This has been a glorious printer that I've been using now for about 6-7 months, and yeah, it's just, yeah, perfect. So print didn't take too long. As you can see there, yeah, I downloaded a shark as well. I kind of just found that on Thingiverse, so just type in shark and yeah, you'll find it. And as you can see, I have adapted the cover of this just so I can, well, have it on this shelf, because there's no room to lift the cover off the top, so sliding off the front is just perfect. And there, yeah, there we go. All miniatures and orcs and the good old shark printed out perfectly, which they kind of always do on the on this Frozen printer. Yeah, absolutely glorious thing. Just as all the other printers they do, because I have tried, well, I think I've tried about 3 or 4 printers now from Frozen, all variety of sizes and prices, which is the reason why I like their printers, because, well, they budget for everyone's needs as well as your bank balance. So miniatures are cleaned. Yeah, put them in some warm water just because, as you can see, the supports, they just peel off a treat, so you'll never snap any of your miniatures doing it this way. And it also helps give the miniatures a bit more of a clean as well. So once these are all dried, then I put them in a curing station just to, well, cure them. And yeah, and then they're good to go for printing or painting, or whatever it is I'm going to be doing to them, because, yeah, I don't know how to use words sometimes, and things just fly out of my mouth. So now to something I do know how to do, and yeah, good old Slapchop painting. It had to be done. Yeah, to say, this video really does have it all. mould making, Slapchop painting, and two-part epoxy clear resin. So yeah, lots of fun to be had. So yeah, typical thing, prime in black, dry brush grey or white even. Although I am doing some videos coming up soon, guys, where I'm going to be playing about again with doing some different colour primers and different colour dry brushing. I think the main one I'm going to be coming up with next is a good old orc. And yeah, I'm going to try possibly priming in purple and dry brushing with yellow, just to see how that looks with the old green wash applied over the top. So yeah, it's simply painted all these items, even the old the shark here. He's got a simple bit of blue wash or dip going over the whole of him. As the shark is going to be placed inside the mould when I pour the clear resin, yeah, I want to make sure there's no sort of bubbles escaping from this dude. So what I'm doing now, just to make sure there's no bubbles going to sort of like come out of any of these nooks and crannies inside him, I'm going to use the good old clear resin here, just to fill in any gaps. So where he's got the big old cut on the back, yeah, there could definitely be some air bubbles sort of trapped in there that will get released later, and definitely the same with his mouth. So yeah, so one thing again that I love with this hobby is it is again trial and error, doing things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and then just trying to improve on anything. Especially if you obviously you do make mistakes, but you know why you made a mistake. Yeah, how you can rectify them in the next sort of videos. So say with this dude, whenever I have printed stuff before, I did make the mistake of 3D printing a hollow item, which obviously had loads of air inside and loads of air came out. So whenever I am making things that are going to be in these clear resins, yeah, they are always going to be sort of full 3D printed items. So now the fun stuff, epoxy resin, deep pour. Again, Let's Resin. There's a link down below, guys, to where you can get hold of this stuff. This is the one that I've used in a few of the videos now. Yeah, never had any problems with like bubbles or anything. So this stuff really is good and easy to use. So the one I have is mixed on a ratio of 2:1. But yeah, relatively easy to mix in this stuff. So you get a big enough jug for it. I'm never too sure though how much of this stuff I'm meant to use. So I just literally eyeballed this. I know some people have said in the past, yeah, fill up the mould with water and then obviously you know how much you need. But then you've got the problems of cleaning out all that water out of the mould. So yeah, I've just eyeballed this. And using obviously this little tool, the cordless drill, makes things so much easier, as this does mix it nice and quick. And it's just a case of keep mixing until it all looks, well, pretty clear looking. So I left it for about 10 minutes before pouring it. But then as you can see, yeah, I didn't mess about pouring it over like a wooden spoon or spatula or trying to pour it into corners. I've just poured it bang in the middle, poured it all out, and yeah, it's worked a good one. And I guess the only downside to this stuff is the curing time. Yeah, it's at least 2-3 days. I think I left mine about a week just because, well, I was working on other projects and yeah, there was no rush. So I would say though, downside, obviously it takes a long time to cure. The upside, it's easy to use. And as you can see, yeah, there's no air bubbles at all in this thing, which is just perfect. And using the silicone resin mould, obviously I knew this would come off real nice and real easy, which yeah, it does. But this is where I was saying earlier on in the video, the wooden side of the object I used to make the mould from, yeah, I should have sanded it down even more or sprayed it or done something to it so it was smoother. Because as you can see, when this does come out, you can see the edges, they're not as sort of crystal clear as they should be. And so this is because obviously the wooden bit I use, the mould is a little bit rough. But that's no worries, we can solve this. But yeah, on the whole, really pleased with how this has come out. All the definition is there, all the nooks and crannies, the little waves at the front, and yeah, you can see the old the fin of the shark there poking through, which is pretty cool. So obviously the fin does, he's got another fin, pokes at the bottom. So yeah, just a case of simply giving that a little bit of a cut. Again, this is where I was hoping, or in my mind, this shark would fit fully inside this cast, but obviously he's a little bit bigger than I kind of had in my head, I guess. So with the side, it does feel a little bit rough, so using some very fine sort of gritted sandpaper here, I gave it a good old, good old sanding down everywhere. And then just to bring it back, yeah, just put some clear resin over the top, brush that on so it's all nice and even and smooth. And then, yeah, using the old curing light. Again, these are the things. So obviously I watch a lot of videos like you guys. I try and pick up tips and tricks here and there. But I always find unless you try things for yourself to see exactly how things work, then you never really know. So I'd seen someone do this and it was like, oh, that seemed simple. Is it too simple? And yeah, the answer is yes. It is very simple, easy, quick, but obviously it brings back the clearness of the resin there, which is just awesome. So say, yeah, finishing that off just using the old ultraviolet light, just to harden it, firm it, cure it, whatever you want to call it. And then yeah, it's good to go. And then it was time to finish off painting the boats and obviously the orcs that are going to be on this little thing. Again, kept the paint jobs nice and simple here. Sort of a couple of browns on the actual boat, some silver on edges, and then yeah, good old wash to finish that all off with. And then it's ready to take place, well, on top of the little wave there. So obviously I know it's going to fit in there perfectly as well. I used it to sort of make the hole in the first place. So there's a few little areas that just need sort of, well, filling in. And again, using the whole clear resin. I say I absolutely love this stuff now. Yeah, obviously it bonds like a glue, which is great. It's great at filling in gaps. And yeah, it's great for making special effects on, well, sea dioramas or any kind of diorama where there might be some clear plastic or clear resin. So yeah, you will be seeing a few more sort of these kind of videos just because as well, I'm having lots of fun with the clear resin. Every time I use it, I feel like I'm getting that little bit better, a little bit more adventurous, just so I can start making some, well, larger water clear resin sort of dioramas. And then just to finish off, yeah, I thought the waves on top weren't too bad, but I kind of wanted to make them, well, even more sort of wavy and splashy. So this good old stuff is perfect for doing that. Yeah, this little jar was quite expensive, but I've kind of had it, well, I think I probably had it sitting around for about 2 years, to be honest. Just because I started doing some resin dioramas, well, a few years ago. Didn't really have great results with them. Yeah, so I kind of like stopped doing it. But now I've got this other resin I'm using. And yeah, the Let's Resin stuff seems to work really well. So yeah, just putting little dabs here and there. So getting little pointy wavy bits. This stuff takes, well, a good 24 hours to properly dry, which isn't too bad. Because again, I'm always working on several projects at once. So, which is great, because then when one is drying, curing, or whatever it might be that I can't sort of work on it anymore, yeah, I'm working on something else. Because as I say, I love doing what I'm doing. And yeah, every day I'm painting something, printing something, making something, or just thinking about what I'm going to do next. Which is why I'm always saying, guys, any ideas you want to see me try out, let me know in the comments as well. I love trying out new things, old things, and anything that's enjoyable and, well, where I can get better. So yeah, this stuff's all dried and looks, well, looks really good. So what I want to do, as you would have noticed, I didn't put any colour in the resin because I've done that before and sometimes I put too much colour in. Whereas I find it easier to print, well, to use the clear epoxy resin as it is, and then just paint over the top. Whether you're using contrast paints, speed paints, or like me here using dipping inks, yeah, these things are perfect because they are, well, quite translucent in the colour. You can then still see everything you need to see. But it does give it a nice sort of tint or hint of a colour, a bit more appropriate with the sea, which I think is just amazing. And then the last thing to do to the sea, just to make it look a bit more sort of like alive, moving and realistic, is a good old bit of dry brushing, which I just love because obviously I love dry brushing anything really because it just makes things look, well, so much better. So with the dry brushing, you really are just catching the edges, the highlights, the raised areas, which does make it look like the sea's a bit more frothy, a bit more movement. Which again, I love things when they are simple but very effective. And this technique, yeah, it certainly is that, as it just brings so much more life to the model. Obviously makes the sea look really good. And yeah, again, I'm really excited and pleased how this has come out. I think it's like most things. the more you do something, the more fun you can have with it, the more things you can experiment with it. And yeah, I definitely see that as the clear epoxy resin is something I am absolutely loving using now. So yeah, last thing to do, although I kind of always keep saying last thing to do and then there's generally something else to do, and that's just to finish off painting these rather cute looking swashbuckling orcs. So it didn't really take too long at all to get these chaps painted. And as I say, I've got several ideas of, well, other sort of projects with the clear resin. One of them is definitely going to be some cryo chambers, although I'm not too sure what to put inside. I have been thinking about putting, well, an orc's head and part of his skeleton, or I'm not too sure. Yeah, guys, if you've got any ideas of what kind of miniatures you'd like to see me put into some cryo chambers, yeah, by all means put them in the comments down below, as that's a video I'm probably going to be doing in the next sort of couple of weeks, just because, well, again, I'm having fun with the clear resin. I might do some more mould making as well. Again, anything you want to see me do mould making wise, leave some comments about that as well. Yep, so these guys pretty much finished off now, and then it was just a case of taking them off of their little painting stands and then gluing them in position. And yeah, to say I'm pleased with this would be an understatement for sure, as I just love how the wave effect has come out. Kind of looks like the shark smiling there. Sure, he's not really. And there we go, one orc on a boat on a choppy wavy sea with a shark diorama. And yeah, I had lots of fun making this. Really pleased with how the choppy seas have come out. And I certainly can't wait to do more things with the two-part epoxy resin, as well as the silicone mould making stuff. As yeah, that was certainly fun to use, and obviously it means I can make some weird and wacky looking things like this. Okay guys, don't forget to leave comments, likes, shares, all that good stuff. You guys all take care. See you in the next one. Bye for now.